you love numbers, you're going to love this episode of Office Insider. Hi, I'm Sheetal Vanwari, and with me is Nishant Singh Didawat. Nishant's a digital whiz kid who's won many an award, including 30 under 30 from Social Samosa and top 50 influential marketeers. He's currently with Epsilo, which is a Singapore-based e-commerce software company. And that's not enough. Nishant is also a co-founder of Twinen. So welcome to the show, Nishant. And my first question, and the nation wants to know, is how do you have so much time?
Thank you for having me over, Sheetal. Such a pleasure to speak to you here as well. I think everybody is doing a lot of things. Sometimes the demand of the profession is such that we have to post more online on the likes of LinkedIn, etc. So it creates some sort of an image that I'm involved in so many things, but everybody's is doing it. There are so many people who are doing so much more significantly. So yeah, very happy with what I get to do and happy to be in this space.
One of the things that I know you do, and you do really well because I have, spoken to you at length about it, is performance marketing. You've done, you've created digital roadmaps for multiple companies in your role with Social Connect. So, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you brands have about paid marketing?
Well, I think too many misconceptions. Let's start with the most common one, which is if you pump in more money, performance marketing will improve. I think that's the single biggest misconception that brands have. Generally, business owners, people who hold the money and the investments, they believe that if you can pump in more money, performance marketing will improve. It doesn't always happen, especially beyond a particular scale. So that would be on top of my mind if we are talking about misconceptions. The second misconception is that if you deploy performance marketing, the performance will be better tomorrow than it was today and than it was yesterday. So that's the second most important, most commonly seen misconception, where people believe that if we were able to achieve X today in terms of returns, we should achieve X plus delta X tomorrow. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that.
We've always believed the better the budget, the better the no, the bigger the budget, the better the reach and higher the conversion. So, what would be your strategies for smaller clients with lower budgets? How do they keep up with their competition?
It's a very tough space to be in. I have fortunately been been in situations where I've worked with small and medium sized businesses as well, especially in the initial couple of years of my career. When I was at Sokrati previously, and we were working on these upcoming e-commerce businesses. It was a very good opportunity for me, largely because when you're working with small and medium-sized businesses, they don't have enough money to experiment with different initiatives. There is constant pressure for them to generate revenue because it's that revenue that's keeping the business alive.
Mhm.
So performance marketers are really trusted. When you work with these small and medium-sized businesses, the margin of error is very low. And one of the things that have worked for us and my clients from that segment of businesses is to be very clear about your audience segment, right? The audiences that you want to speak to, you have to be very clear about that. When I say audience, I mean the target personas, the geographies, very importantly. You cannot always have the luxury of relying on machine learning for optimization for this particular category, because machine learning works best at scale,
Correct.
whereas there is not a lot of scope for scale in these segments. So you have to let's say manually be very clear about which audience segment, which geography, which gender, which age group, which income group you want to go after.
Is there a platform that you think works better depending on the budget? Do you have a personal preference or something that you've seen work better?
There aren't very clear patterns today. If you asked me this question about 4 years back, I would have said, yeah, Google search. And that would have been a two-word answer and it would have been maybe accurate as well. Right now, the if you look at small businesses specifically, there are higher percentage of businesses that depend on the likes of Instagram for performance marketing as well as compared to Google. So the dynamics have changed. They're still changing. TikTok would have been an interesting introduction to it, but of course, it's not going to be there in India. But because I also work with Southeast Asian markets now, there are multiple channels that are very, very important for performance marketing.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you was, now you're catering to a B2B audience, and what are
Yeah.
your learnings? How does it differ from B2C?
I believe that at the end of the day, you're always any business is always B2C. Okay. Even what we traditionally or categorically call as B2B, at the end of the day, you're still trying to sell or trying to convince an end user from that business. The whole B2B being multiple B2Cs coming together. So that's how I look at it from that standpoint. It's a different perspective that I have. I believe that at the end of the day, every business is serving two customers directly, even in the B2B world.
So keep the end consumer happy, or that
Yes,
part of
yes,
the person happy, and the rest will fall into
yes,
place.
yes,
Fair enough.
yes.
Fair enough. My last question for you is something that I saw you mention on your LinkedIn, where you said that the best part about being a founder is that you get to directly talk to your users with Twine. Can you tell us one of the most interesting things any user has told you on Twine?
Hey Nishant, I am not getting a lot of replies to my messages. Why don't you block certain people from the app because they don't tend to reply to other users? so, so I got very very interesting comments. But having said that, most of the good feedback also comes from the users. I think without getting customer feedback, it's very very difficult to build anything. Not just an app, but it could be anything. It could be a pitch deck. It could be anything, right? I think listening to the consumers is extremely important.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Nishant. It was really a pleasure talking to you. Everyone can follow Nishant on LinkedIn. He's Nishant Singh Didawat. The ID is mentioned on the video below. You follow Office and stay tuned for more episodes of Office Insider. Thank you.